talking into nothing and not being able to see anybody or hear from anybody, but nevertheless, we shall move on. So this is the introduction to the City Centre Sustainable Design Housing Competition. And as you all know, we decided to set up 4 workshops to prepare people for the competition. And this is the first one that deals with the aims and background. So my name is Bob Giddings, and I'll be chairing this session. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk about the aims of the competition, and then Robert's going to talk about the future of the city centre and plans for Pretoria-Tshwane, and then Francine's going to tell you about the site and its context. And what we're going to do is that we're all going to talk for about 15 or 20 minutes. So there'll be up to an hour of presentations, and then there'll be up to an hour for you to ask us questions and to discuss anything that you'd like to. Please note that everything will be put up on the SharePoint. The link is given on this slide. And if you have any queries, and certainly the submissions, as we'll say probably several times, should be made to that email address. Okay, so just a quick overview of the workshops that we're going to do. As I say, today we're looking at the aims and the future of the city centre and the site. On the 16th of August, we'll be considering affordable housing, how it's developed and delivered, the design of housing, and co-working and co-living. Workshop 3 on the 23rd of August will be about the various aspects of sustainability. So there'll be environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, and social sustainability. And then workshop 4 on the 30th of August will be about the use of external space and innovative and sustainable building technologies and indigenous materials. So those are the issues that we are intending to consider throughout these 4 workshops. Yeah. Right. So talk a little bit about the background for this competition. It was initiated by the CIB, and in case you don't know what the CIB is, it's an international network of researchers in the built environment, and it functions through what are called working commissions. And in terms of this competition, there's been 3 working commissions, being architectural design and management, which I am the coordinator. There's smart and sustainable built environments, which Jeremy Gibbard is the coordinator, who is with us this afternoon. And there's construction in developing countries, which PD is the coordinator of. Now, in addition to that, there is the Future of the City Centre network. And as a part of the project that preceded that network, we held a symposium in Tshwane, Pretoria in September 2018, of which a lot of important data came from. And I'll come back to that at the end. So this competition is an opportunity to explore, develop, and present ideas. And the fundamental objective is to create a community. So this is going to be probably quite different to the sorts of projects that you've dealt with in your architectural programs. So there will not be a schedule of accommodation. We will not be telling you exactly what you need to develop. We want to hear your ideas. And what is really important about it is that it's the design of inside internal spaces as well as outside space and the relationship between the two. And there are issues such as work and home and leisure and horticulture and various other things that can be included. PD, in his chapter for the book on the future of the city centre, his chapter on Pretoria-Tshwane, followed the Tshwane authorities' definition of the city centre, and you can see here that the area covers the space between the zoological garden to the north, the station to the south, Sunnyside to the east, and of course Pretoria West. And in the middle of it is Church Square. And you can see that the site is on the eastern boundary of this central area. We were very keen to include as many departments and programs in architecture as we could. So you can see here that it's open to third-year students at Cape Peninsula, at Durban, at Nelson Mandela, at Tshwane University of Technology, Cape Town, Johannesburg, KwaZulu-Natal, Pretoria, Free State, and Wits. So, you know, it's open to quite a range of students throughout the country. The evaluation criteria, first of all, it needs to be a high quality design, somewhere that is, you know, enjoyable and interesting and comfortable as a place to live. And one of the tutors said to me, well, you know, this affordable housing tends, you know, just to be a lot of boxes. Well, we absolutely do not want a lot of boxes. We want somewhere that is really interesting for people to live. And if that means we have to push the boundaries of affordable housing, then we'll push the boundaries of affordable housing. And some of you might like even consider, you know, the way that, you know, the funding regimes for affordable housing, you know, could be revised and upgraded. So the first of the criteria is that it needs to be a high quality design, somewhere that is going to be really enjoyable for people to live. But it's more than that. It's about the philosophy of approach. It's about where you're coming from in terms of your interests. And some of the things that you might wish to explore are environmental sustainability. You might want to support economic sustainability. You might consider social sustainability. You might wish to assist diversity and inclusion within the population, promote innovative building technologies and indigenous materials, importantly respond to the site opportunities and challenges, and enhance the lives of residents and neighbours. The important thing is to focus on what interests you, because if you try and do everything, you will just end up with a very kind of superficial approach to it all. So in addition to high quality design, it's about what interests you. Do you want to have a good emphasis on environmental sustainability, on energy, on avoiding pollution, those kind of things? Are you interested in more in forming social groups? Are you interested more in the materials that are involved? Are you interested more in, you know, how to generate neighborhoods? So it's important that you decide what's important to you. Now, CIB, as I've said, is a research organization. So we are hoping that you will also present some research as a part of this. And remember that research can be quantitative, it can be qualitative, or it can be both. So for a comprehensive submission, there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done. So that's why we are advising that you form teams of 2 to 6 members. You can have as many members within that band as you like. You can also include students from the university in other disciplines if you need specific expertise. So the way of thinking about this is that each of you within the team might want to focus on particular issues, and then you bring them together. Submissions are to be made electronically by each team. Submission should be no more than 1 slide in portrait orientation that demonstrates the proposals. It should include plans, sections, elevations, 3-dimensional representations, but also include diagrams and limited text that identify the approach, the solutions, the research, and non-architectural aspects of the proposals. These slides will be printed at A1 size. So please ensure that the detail you provide will be clear at that size, and that the resolution will be sufficiently high for it to be printed. It will be very difficult for the judges if you present unclear submissions. So they should be made as a JPEG or PDF attachment or by WeTransfer, and as I said at the beginning, they should be sent to that email address. The deadline is Monday the 16th of October, and submissions will not be accepted after that date. And we strongly recommend that you submit before the deadline. Don't leave it right up to the last minute and then discover some technical issues. Make sure that you send it in good time so that if there are any technical problems, they'll be sorted out. And the acknowledgement of receipt will be sent by email. Please ensure that there are no identifiers such as names or university information on the sheet. All entries must be anonymous, but your submission should be accompanied by the names of team members and name of the university, but nothing actually on the slide. You'll be allocated a reference number, and that should appear clearly on the front of your submitted slide, so that when the judges see the printed form, all they see is the number. There are prizes. There are prizes for the overall scheme, and remember, overall scheme is more than just the design scheme. So there'll be first, second, and third prize for that. There'll be sustainability prizes. That's why I suggested that you might want to focus on a particular aspect of sustainability. And there'll also be sponsors prize for innovative building technologies and indigenous materials. So, the prizes reflect, or will hopefully reflect, your interests. The judges will be representatives of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the National Home Builders Registration Council, National Department of Human Settlements, Pretoria Institute of Architects, CIB, and Buchelman and Partners. So you'll see that some of these people are architects and some are not. Judging, exhibition, prize giving. Judging will take place on Thursday, 26th of October, exhibition prize giving Friday, the 27th of October, and it will be at the University of Pretoria Department of Architecture Hatfield campus. Right, so just a few references to finish off with. The top one is from the Future of the City Centre network, and it's about the symposium that was held in Tshwane, and includes the presentations from the various people who are involved, as well as a summary and outcome. And I particularly suggest that you have a look at Dennis's presentation, and I'm sure Robert will be referring to that as we go on. There's urbanisation publication. There's the changes and challenges in housing delivery. And of course, there is PD's chapter from the book of the future of the city centre about Pretoria-Tshwane, which I think will be very helpful to you. Okay, so that's the first one of the presentations. Now I'll hand over to Robert for the second one.
Thank you, Bob. If you can move your screen, I'll share mine.
Yeah, I think has mine gone? And I'll do, right, hang on, let's try this. Is that better, Robert?
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to me from Scotland. I'm not able to join you today, but I thought, as Bob says, we are delighted to be involved in this on behalf of the Future of the City Centre Network, an organisation or structure that we've set up as a result, as Bob said, of the AHRC funding project over the last few years. And one part of that has been looking around the world at what the future of the city centre holds, and indeed the shape and nature of that, which is itself, I think, up for discussion. What I'm hoping to do today then is to give you a little insight as to what we think, or rather, or maybe more precisely what I think, might be some of the issues and challenges that you want to look at as part of your design and your entry to this competition. In particular, we're interested under the network is to thinking about how different elements of the city come together in the city centre. Because the city centre is not just a downtown, it's also the place in which really the city gets its identity, historically and in most cases in the contemporary scene. So when you're thinking about designing an element of that city centre, you're having to think about the whole concept of what the city is and what the city is trying to achieve. And so today I want to spend just a few minutes saying a little bit about what the Tshwane is looking to do and where it thinks the city centre should be in its future. And then I'm going to outline some suggestions about some of the challenges that we see that the city faces that you might want to take into account as part of your submission. And finally, I'm going to say a little bit about some of the issues that I think you might want to touch on as part of your competition submission. So let me set the scene, first of all. Like every other city in the world, there is an ambition being set out by the city authorities. In the case of Tshwane, it's a plan that looks towards 2055. And as you can see in the statement there, it's a mixture of making the city sustainable, vibrant, livable, and prosperous. Aspirations that, in fact, almost every city in the world wants to have. And that therefore, its city centre is the driving force of this city ambition. Critically, they do acknowledge, unlike some cities, that there is a balancing act to be made here between social and spatial agendas, between economic and non-economic, environmental, ecological aspects. And so inevitably, something is always going to be a compromise when you're thinking about designing anything in the city centre. Some aspirations, some elements are going to take prominence over others. And one key part of any city strategy, any design strategy must be, I would suggest, that you identify why you want to create something more significant than others and how that contributes to the wider agenda of the city. In Pretoria-Tshwane's case, there are a number of values that they've set out that, again, I think you might be mindful of in terms of any way we think about change and transformation in the city centre. Wants to be a city where there is ambition, opportunity, so created, in the sense, therefore, that it's not something that's fixed in space or time, but it's one that can be transformed, can be changed, and one where opportunity is encouraged. Some people call that an entrepreneurial city, but in reality, it's cities that are trying to acknowledge that we don't know the future, and there are, with certainty, and there are some opportunities that have to be built in where we can be more agile, more flexible. How do you build that into a design competition, into a design in a particular part? Well, that's for you to think about. But a city of opportunity is one where there is a chance for something to be slightly different, to perhaps